Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Today, we have an excellent matchup between two fairly new teams, I believe, in our EUPC Open tier. We're in week one, and it's going to be DINOCO versus SEMPER Resurrection. I am joined by Spectrion, and how are you feeling today, my guy?
Well, I mean, it's a bit of a special day for Overwatch, I think we all know. First couple hours of a new patch that these two teams will be playing on, and so it's going to be kind of our first glimpse towards a whole new era of Overwatch, even that we could be going into. Almost half the cast has been changed. Plenty of the things that these teams have been scrimming, have been practicing, may no longer work. Some of them may be far stronger, but I mean, it's only really God himself who knows exactly how these things are going to play out, which I'm so excited for today's game. Speaking of said game, we do need to take a quick look at our competitors so we can really get to know who we will be seeing on our screens for the next couple minutes.
For sure. First up, we have DINOCO, Oak and Lump holding it down on that DPS line. Alpha on the tank. Queen and Unkempt are holding it down in the back line. And then for SEMPER Resurrection, we have got SLZ and Selfless on the DPS, Chisholm on the tank, and Matsy and Dragfinat on the support. And like you said, this is the first match of the new competitive season anyway. We are on the Season 6 patch, so like you said, a lot of stuff has changed. And as most of you might know, there is a new support and a new game mode. Unfortunately, we will not be using either one, but look forward to that somewhere around our mid-season tournament. But we will be, speaking of maps, we will be looking at our map pool here.
Opening up with Busan, always a very varied map pool, so we can see maybe a couple different compositions coming out there. Moving over to Midtown, Dorado, East Brancer, if it is necessary, and I do believe we have a decider, but it's going to slip my mind, unfortunately.
It is Lijiang Tower. It is going to be our map 5 if necessary.
There we have it. So plenty of maps that I think we can see all different sorts of variety being played, all different styles, comps, and what have you. I do think it does tend itself a little bit more towards those kind of dive compositions, but definitely room for some brawly, pokey stuff should the area of the map allow, should the teams also want to do so.
Yeah, I casted a game the other day where on Busan they actually had their Reinhardt player in, and they got the Shrine map first, and they wanted to run the Winston, had to switch to the D.Va, but they kept their Reinhardt player in because they wanted the brawl here on these other 2 points, and they ended up winning that map. So I am looking forward to seeing what kind of shenanigans these teams are going to be pulling here on this brand new patch, and soon enough we will be getting into it here.
Yeah, what I'm really curious to see is if Ramatra is still kind of the shoo-in for brawl compositions if we do manage to go to Mecha base. Of course, did receive a buff and a nerf, no longer receiving, now being able to properly block attached damage. That's going to be pulse bombs, Junkrat right clicks, Echo right clicks. But in exchange, and what I think is maybe the more noticeable change, is that your ult is going to be charging quite a bit slower, 12% to be exact. So I'm wondering if this is kind of the straw that breaks the camel's back, that tips Ryan back into being kind of the be-all, end-all of brawl compositions. But looking at this so far, it's going to be Ram on Ram, baby. Still no Reinhardt. The German Crusader is going to be on the sidelines for all but the few players who still stick on them, as we are seeing almost mirrored brawls. The only variations are going to be the Mei and the Sombra. Sombra's going to provide a little bit more damage. EMP can help you win fights. Mei's going to have a little bit more neutral value, walling off the enemy Ramatra, making Chisholm's life as hard as possible. Blizzard as well, very, very rough to peel somebody out of as we get started here on Mecha Base.
They are going to take this right side first for the first fight of our series here. And it's going to be Lamp with a beautiful headshot onto Drag, taking down so much of the healing for Semper Resurrection. And now DINOCO pushing the pushing everything in on Semper Resurrection here, and a beautiful, beautiful first fight for DINOCO, who will take the first flip here.
Yeah, Dragfey I think maybe he was a little bit too comfortable on that angle, hoping that the shift of Moira would help them to escape, but no matter, as a quick re-engage is coming through here on the bridge.
Selfless having to escape there with the translocator. It's very, very fast, but Chisholm actually building up to this annihilation just a little bit faster than Alpha. Coalescence popped by Unchempt, and now we see the annihilation popped by Chisholm. Alpha, though, is going to find the Moira in Drag. Chisholm trading out Lump with the annihilation here. Alpha so close to his as well. Will pop it to stay alive, as well as Queen's beat. And now Chisholm is just on that back foot blocking. Coalescence out from Drag to try and keep their Ramatra up. And SLZ with 2 on the Death Blossom. Matzi cleaning up Alpha. And this should be a flip here for Semper Resurrection.
A bit of a mistake, I think, from Queen and Alpha, overlaying the beat and the annihilation. The defensive utility and the offensive utility, in fact, of both ultimates was lessened because Semper Resurrection just kited, re-engaged with the Coalescence, and ultimately won the fight off the back of it. And the EMP as well from the defenders can be so huge, especially in this enclosed space.
We see just now Selfless actually looking like he wants to call out where they're rotating from, but they are going to be faking that rotate. EMP to stop the Blizzard, hits 4 people there. Unchempt fades to get out of it, but a beautiful EMP there from Selfless to just get rid of Lump's Blizzard. And now we just see DINOCO running away.
I mean, they didn't really have many other options after they've been EMP'd, right? Now they just have to try and force through the choke, but Selfless is so aggressive on this off angle, trying to get as much charge towards this new EMP as possible. The Blizzard from Oak is here, as well as the Coalescence of Unchempt, but from DINOCO, it's going to be slow play more than likely as they engage.
And here we see the Death Blossom and the Coalescence out, but the Death Blossom doesn't find anything, and Queen able to take down Matzi. This is a 2-for-2 trade right now, and make that 3-for-3. SLZ and Selfless are the last 2 standing, and Lump actually falls as well. Now it is just the Sombra and the Reaper. Oh, I guess Chisholm came back? Or no, that's Alpha, my bad. But we see Coalescence out from Drag, and DINOCO is somehow going to get the flip. Beat out from Queen to keep their team alive, and Matzi answers in turn with their own. Chisholm has the annihilation, will pop it. Once Queen is going to find them. Matzi cleaning up Alpha, and SLZ cleaning up Unchempt, and now it is just Oak, and we are entering into the last fight here on Mecha Base.
Chisholm's annihilation just allowed the Ramatra player to walk the backline, get those fists going, and ultimately turn the fight. But Alpha was just 2% off of their own. These margins are razor thin, and now that ultimate is available for DINOCO's last push here.
We see Lump drop that Blizzard. No counter EMP from Selfless this time. Oh my!
Cancelled!
Lump kills Selfless out of EMP! Kills Matzi. Alpha popping the annihilation. And now it is just a battle of the Ramatras on top, and the annihilation from Alpha finds him as the winner in that duel. Queen taking down Dragfinat, and I mean, Lump with a beautiful, beautiful play in the most important fight of this map.
DINOCO still have tools to use. They might have spent a lot to cap the point, but they still have yet more. And with this choke control, it's going to be so rough for Semper Resurrection to even get a touch going.
You see Coalescence out from Unchempt. Death Blossom out, kills Matzi. Death Blossom out from SLZ, takes down his counterpart, but Queen and Alpha are going to be picking up the slack there. It's just Selfless and Chisholm, make that just Selfless, and that should be the point here for DINOCO.
Both teams almost inseparable here on Mecha Base, but in the end, it's DINOCO who's able to clutch out the final moments. The second fight in which they cancelled the EMP was really the pivotal moment where the momentum swung in their favor. And they were able to snowball that a little bit into capping that out, going up 1-0 here on Busan. One has to wonder, though, exactly how different this map would have been if Semper's EMP was able to activate at some point, either there or even in the next fight, because there's such a strong ultimate consigned into Oblivion, and one they're sorely going to be wanting back, sticking on the Sombra here. In fact, no changes for the side of Semper Resurrection. DINOCO going to be moving on to a more traditional dive style comp. Oak will be swapping over to the Tracer in short order. Even though some of these heroes have been recently nerfed, I think it's still a very strong comp, and one that DINOCO look desperate to attempt to apply.
Yeah, we're seeing just the Semper Resurrection taking hard control of that Mega Room right there. Do not want to let it go just yet. SLZ just putting those Hellfire shotguns to work. Oh my goodness, just chunking Alpha down. Has to drop the bubble, and Chisholm is going to clean it up. SLZ TPing back to that Mega, takes down Lump, and forces Oak out and takes them down as well. And that's going to be the first flip for Semper Resurrection.
DINOCO's win conditions here more or less involve forcing out either Ramatra Shift, Reaper Shift, or Moira Shift. If they can force out one or even more of those particular cooldowns, then they have a great target to dive and assassinate, but they made changes now. Lump, Queen, over to the Mercy Echo, so they're looking to put a lot more stock into this Echo, try and get a lot more value out of their projectile player.
Oak able to get that recall off after being hacked by Selfless, but Lump is going to find that first pick onto the Reaper. That is so much of that burst damage for Semper Resurrection gone. And now we see Chisholm under a lot of duress. The Pulse Bomb goes a little bit wide there. Selfless able to take down Unchamped. Alpha trades that support, but it's going to be Massey and SLZ that are going to be able to keep this point going for Semper Resurrection.
It looks to me like Alpha's having a really rough time towing the line in between aggressive and passive, trying to survive but also getting enough value to justify the Winston pick, and as a result is consistently getting picked out, knocked down far too early for the rest of his team to be able to get set up, respawning out, re-engaging with the duplicate onto the Ramatra.
Do see that Duke come out hoping to build up to that annihilation, but won't get there. Chisholm takes down Lump's duplicate, and that is already at 80% here for Semper Resurrection. It's going to take a lot for DINOCO to find a space here, and hopefully this is it, but it's going to be beat to counter the nano from Unchamped. Alpha taken so low already, pops the Primal Rage here, just trying to knock these people around, and Annihilation comes out, and it's going to be Drag that cleans it up. Annihilation kills Lump, and DINOCO doesn't touch. Okay, we're going to a map 3 here.
It looks like it, doesn't it? I mean, I think the idea was cool to run the dive, and I think it could have worked in theory, but the execution, I think, simply wasn't there from the side of DINOCO. Swaps going back and forth made it seem like they maybe weren't expecting just running the Ramatra from Resurrection. But ultimately, it doesn't matter what happened in the past, as we are moving here on to Sanctuary. DINOCO looking like they want to run something very similar, staying on the Monkey for Alpha, that pick that was punished so hard on downtown. Semper Resurrection staying on these kind of Ramatra compositions, Selfless with the SimTP out of spawn, now going over to the Tracer. And it's still, the name of the game for Semper Resurrection is just going to be bullying out Alpha again and again.
Yeah, we see Oak just trying to put those bullets in to Semper Resurrection, not finding much luck just yet. Sees Selfless, but SLZ is going to find Lump. SLZ taking down Lump, and that is a dire pick there for DINOCO. They're going to get the first flip because of it.
I mean, there's nothing you can do. Once your Tracer is down, especially when you're playing these monkey compositions, when your Tracer's down, you have nothing else to do but wait for the respawn to come through, and that's what they're going to do. Semper Resurrection, they want to press their advantage, they are fighting aggressively. Selfless, very low, but will survive with a sliver of HP, and these two teams have regrouped for the next fight.
Selfless being quite fearless, I would say, right there. Chisholm now under a little bit of duress by Alpha. Pops the Nemesis form, and Alpha's in so much danger right now, but it's going to be Lump! Lump finds the pick! Alpha so low has to get out, but they have that first pick, and they need to go in with it. And they will with the Nano Boost Pulse Bomb as well, not finding a target. And Alpha just jumping on Matsy, but it's going to be Oak with that Viper rifle that cleans up Matsy and Selfless here. And now Oak with 3 there. Can he make it 4, maybe? No, it's going to be Lump that cleans it up, but 60% for Semper Resurrection, and they'll definitely take that.
And that is kind of the strength of this Ash-based composition, a little bit less focused about towing the margins as much. You can just set your hit scan and your backline up on angles around the point and have them fire in. The Ram is really going to struggle to challenge that, because you need your Tracer, your Sombra to fight around you, else you just have isolated battles across the map rather than a full team battle, in fact. And that's why DINOCO are finally in control, but SLZ is close to the EMP, looking for it, but right now just going in with a manual hack.
Yeah, you see him, Pulse Bomb out for Selfless, not going to find the Winston that he was targeting. Bob as well out from Oak, but it's going to be SLZ once again that finds that pick on to Lump. The Tracer already gone. Alpha did pop his Primal Rage, did not find a whole lot of value with it. Rally out from Queen as well as the Annihilation from Chisholm. This is just the ultimate fight, in Chisholm around the corner finds Alpha, but Oak taking down the Lucio, the Nano Boost onto Queen to keep them alive. Oak takes out Chisholm, and I mean, it was a flip for Semper Resurrection, but DINOCO keeps themselves above water here.
Yeah, the supports of Semper Resurrection had a really rough time of things there. Anti-Nated consistently pressured. It felt like they spent most of the fight below half HP, and they weren't able to adequately support Chisholm. A lovely spy check actually onto SLZ. It's going to make the Sombra has such a rough time scaling onto the backline later on, but Lump will have to relinquish the off angle in exchange.
I see Lump still continuing to do his job. Saw the Sombra there. Selfless is asleep, and Unchemped will find that final blow on to Selfless, and that is unfortunate to say the least for Semper Resurrection. Matsy antied will fall to Unchemped, but a beautiful anti onto Alpha. No, not anti, but EMP, my bad. Onto Alpha there to take down the Winston. And now we see Chisholm just trying to put some damage onto this backline, and Drag is going to take down the Tracer here, and we are entering last fight territory as the picks just keep coming for Semper Resurrection.
It's looking really, really rough for DINOCO, who really do need a miracle now. It's getting to 5%. Someone has to touch the point, but can it even be done? The Tracer will be the one to do it, but Lump's recall is forced out so early. And with this Coalescence, do DINOCO even have a shot?
Doesn't look like it when their Winston goes down first there. The pummels from Chisholm, SLZ finding Lump once again. Oh, Chisholm taking down Queen. The Lucio is gone, but Bob missed the point, and that is going to be Semper Resurrection taking Busan.
And I have to say, throughout those second two maps, it very clearly looks like the dive compositions we were saying out of DINOCO maybe weren't as polished as maybe they would have liked. Most definitely not as strong as the brawls we were seeing out of Semper Resurrection. And in the brawl on brawl, it was so much closer, so maybe could have been a little bit, maybe even have swung the other way towards the side of DINOCO if they continued running these brawl compositions, but it was not to be. Midtown will be our next area of battle, but I'm not sure if it's just going to play out the same way. It's a map where you can keep forcing the Ramatra if you so please, but it's also very, very common to see dive compositions because there's longer sightlines because of the verticality that especially the second point in the map has. So if I had to guess, and it did go to some brawl on brawl, I would definitely say that DINOCO has a very decent chance of trading it back. Even if they mirrored the brawl rather than just playing dive, then I also absolutely could go the way of DINOCO. But if they can continue, playing their dive into the brawl of Semper Resurrection, I don't see a way where they get much going in this series.
Yeah, I mean, there was one thing that I really did notice over that that map there, is that even though DINOCO did end up taking that first map on Busan, because, you know, we'll never know what would have happened, but when we saw Selfless die out of EMP, I feel like that kind of play there holds so much more value, because in this recent patch, they did actually nerf the ult charge for EMP. It's actually 15% more expensive now than it was just yesterday. And it's such a punishing play to kill a Sombra out of EMP, because it takes them so much longer to build that up now.
I can definitely agree with that, and I think that's a very true thing to say. I mean, it was so rough even beforehand, but when so much of Sombra's ult value revolves around their EMP and it just gets removed like that, then it does feel like you spent half the match playing a weak hero basically just because you think it's funny or something like that. And if they were actually playing the Mei, for example, then it would be a lot less punishing. Mei's a lot stronger in the Brawl Mirror. But I can't imagine we'll be seeing too much of that on Midtown. Again, it's not as kind of choke-based as mecha-based. It's much more long-range, so there's going to be a lot less time so Mei walls can find value, where Ramatra Fists will be easily scaled onto the backline. So before, on the old patch, very, very common to see Winston, Tracer, Sombra, maybe an Echo if the team was feeling particularly adventurous, but no variation away from that. Winston has been changed a little bit, maybe not nerfed, so it is still what I expect to see. Again, it is what DINOCO were running for the majority of that match. Semper Resurrection, again, they haven't shown anything other than the Brawl, but it's very rare nowadays for teams to only be able to play that, so I think there's definitely have more in their wheelhouse, but it's up to them whether they reveal it or not.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I feel like Midtown is one of those maps where, like, there's obviously one thing that is the best in the past. It's been the Winston Tracer Sombra dive, but you can actually, speaking of which, we're not going to Midtown, I guess, anymore.
Huh.
We're going to Eichenwald, and that is definitely far more brawly, especially on points A and C. You can run the dive if you want to on the on point B there, but scratch everything we said about Midtown, because we're not even going there. But you know, same kind of thing applies, where you can run kind of what you want here, whether it's brawl or if you are more comfortable on the dive. I don't see why you couldn't do either one.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think the thing with Eichenwalde is that you can run basically whatever you want on the first point, but on second point you're really going to struggle scaling a brawl around. Any hit scans, maybe even a Pharah or an Echo on that high ground will absolutely tear you to shreds if you just try and sit on the cut, force it around the corner. But on the last point, if you try playing anything that functions with angles, maybe a poke, maybe a dive composition, you're just going to struggle, because it's basically one long corridor where Reinhardt's Ramatras will always reign supreme, because they can just sit on the payload and swing until their heart's content. So when we get to third, it will most definitely be brawl on brawl, but before that, it's a lot more stylistic, a lot more dependent on what these teams have as part of their read on the meta, what they believe is their best comp stylistically. So plenty of options will be available, but if I had to guess, would start off with a kind of dive/poke based defense. The attack is so open, maybe in a Pharah, but once we get to second, it's going to go to dive. Once we get to third, it's brawl all the way.
For sure, and just so we can put it on the record, we did not switch off of Midtown because we wanted to. Apparently, it's just not available in the custom lobbies. So maybe Blizzard found something wrong with Midtown, just took it out of rotation entirely. So Eichenwald is our backup here, and we will be getting into it very, very soon. I saw some silly stuff happening in the lobby beforehand, but I don't think we'll be seeing the Wrecking Ball.
I mean, Wrecking Ball's not terrible. He's just, like, not as strong as Winston. Is the unfortunate state of balance of that particular hero.
It does appear as though we're having some technical difficulties. I'm not really entirely sure what's happening, but, you know, go from one broken map to a broken stream, unfortunately. It happens. But
I guess just keep on giving.
Yeah, we'll get it figured out, but until then, hope y'all are going to stick around, and I guess we'll just try and keep talking.
That age-old esports moment.
It looks like we might be getting soon, maybe? Question mark. But
I hope so.
It is unfortunately we've got some prod issues. Production is having a little bit of trouble right now, but it's looking like that's interesting. I mean, y'all can't see it right now, unfortunately, but both teams are actually hovering a version of a Junker Queen comp. The DPS and supports are a little weird, but are a little different. Sorry, but both tanks hovering that Junker Queen right now.
Yeah. So what we ended up seeing was actually we'll talk a little bit more about this as we go into the map, but the defenders have been cooking. That's all I will tell you. But you know, we'll save it for you. It could be a little bit of a surprise. But until then, Fletch, what are you thinking of the new hero, Illari?
I literally 10 minutes before call time, I hopped in the practice range just to check her out a little bit. She's interesting. I don't know. She does her primary fire is you gotta charge it up a little bit for it to do the max damage. Her healing turret I feel like is interesting. Selfless, starting off with a kill onto Lump. That pocket Pharah so strong to this day. Alpha and Unchemped actually switching it up here, going on to D.Va, who was actually buffed on this patch.
Yeah, mild mobility buffs and a little bit of invulnerability going to make her just a little bit stronger, but nothing game-breaking by the looks of things. DINOCO see the Pharah of Selfless and decide that he has absolutely no right to play the video game, so wholesale stops to try and shut that particular pick down. Axela will be the first fatality.
Lump with a beautiful group of sticky nades on to Baxter. Oak taking down Matsy, and Lump putting that air control on lock right now, and it is just Chisholm left, and a dominant attack thus far from DINOCO.
DINOCO just shut them down. The damage boosted right click of Lump is an easy one shot if they all connect, and Semper Resurrection dislike the air supremacy that DINOCO are attempting to hold, so Baxter is over to his own Echo. It'll be a little bit more rough because we'll be playing into the hit scan and does not have that mercy pocket, so the onus is most definitely on Selfless and Chisholm to shut down the back end of DINOCO. Baxter has a little bit less to do, but has a much rougher time getting even that done.
Yeah, you see Chisholm just jumped over there. Ooh, that's terrifying for Baxter. Able to just get away from that nano-boosted D.Va, and the D.Va, she's antied, but Alpha's able to get away. And that is going to be so much charge for Unkempt there. The dupe out on to the Ana. Baxter cleaning up Queen with that focusing beam. I believe Lump hit an anti on to one of the supports. You'll have to excuse me, I did not see specifically who, but Chisholm cleaning up Lump twice there in the fight, and now Alpha all by themselves having to get out, and that is going to be a pretty good fight for the defense there for Semper Resurrection.
And what Semper have realized is that while Baxter may have less resources than Lump, it means that Lump's team has far less resources than Baxter's team. And so Selfless, Chisholm, Drag Faye, Nat, they can get all the value in the world. Baxter is just there to mop up the survivors with the focusing beam, and it's a rather strong defensive composition. DINOCO have also to try and leverage here. Also is eaten.
Yeah, beautiful eat from Alpha. And Chisholm, you saw, just hit his head on that roof there, but Baxter gets that nano boost, takes down both supports, and it is just him versus Lump. Lump gets the better of them in the duel, but it's just too little too late there as Baxter finds that little bit of echo diff, I think.
I mean, I'm not sure I'd call it that, but, you know, so far so good for Baxter on the defense. A little bit of stagger onto the Baby Deer is really, really rough. It's going to slow down DINOCO so much, and with no tank, they're trying to engage 4v5.
Chisholm jumps in onto that back line there. And as the back line will actually run away here, and Chisholm taking this little bit of high ground here. Alpha actually contesting him for it here. Chisholm solo has to get out, go back to the castle. Lump gets that nano boost. Gets antied, has to use the dupe. Does not get that full value out of the nano, unfortunately, but stays alive. We see the Primal Rage popped by Chisholm, just knocking people about, not really finding a whole lot, to be honest. Oak has to get out, gets antied by Baxter, who also popped the duplicate here, potentially building up to a nano boost. We'll keep you posted on that. Anti on to Lump as the dupe fades away. So does the anti. Pulse bomb out. Does not kill Unchimpt there, but Chisholm going to find Alpha. Dragfinat finding the final blow onto Lump, and this should be a cleanup here for Simple Resurrection with 2 minutes left on the clock.
Absolute chaos in that last fight. The action kept going and going and going, but finally, when the dust settles, it will still be Semper Resurrection in control. DINOCO at the time might whistle down considerably, like slightly less than 2 minutes for which them try and get the point all the way to the halls, to the castle, but no tools really in which to leverage to get them there. Alpha's going to be the closest, 80% of a Primal Rage, but that's hardly pivotal playing into the comp of Semper Resurrection. So really, really rough times for DINOCO, who have swapped their backline over to a mirror, but Matzy goes down so early.
Yeah, that a beautiful engage there from Alpha and Lump, I guess. Lump was the Tracer in that situation instead of the Tracer. But now Dragfinat falls. Alpha, to stay alive, pops the Primal Rage, and now DINOCO will be taking B here.
An early pick onto the Brigitte is all that DINOCO needed, and finally the cap will come through. Took them a hot second, but now 2.5 minutes to make it all the way through third. No swaps yet. I'm assuming teams want to ride out their ult cycles before they do eventually change heroes, but it's most definitely on the cards here, as Echo has a little bit of a rough time scaling, especially when playing into the Tracer Ana.
We see an engage here from Chisholm and Selfless. Selfless getting pretty close to their Pulse Bomb. Sleep out wide for Drag. And now nothing to stop Lump, who has the nano boost here. Will duplicate the Ana to potentially stay alive, I guess. And gets juggled into a corner, able to get out with that extra life. And now just a few meters left here, and Chisholm's gonna fall to a great Pulse Bomb from Oak. Anti-nade from Baxter, not finding a target. Falls, and rally popped by Queen as Selfless finds the stick and able to stay alive. Rally out from Matzy as well, who receives the nano boost, able to take down Lump. And Dragfinat under so much pressure here, able to just play Ring Around the Rosie and stay alive as Chisholm cleans up Alpha. And with just 60 seconds on the clock, DINOCO is switching to a Reinhardt comp.
Yeah, kind of as I predicted, it's going to be the Sojourn variant with the Reinhardt, of course. So going to be a little bit more focused around sustain, taking a slow fight rather than a Ramacha Reaper variant, just going to sprint into your face. Semper Resurrection, much the same, but this is much more ramshackle. Selfless on the Soldier. Straight out of spawn is not a variation I've seen too often, but Rhines are now brawling on the point.
We see a wall. Cuts Alpha off, but a good wall from Lump to keep their Reinhardt away from Semper Resurrection. And now we see Alpha hitting that rotate onto the high ground and pins Selfless. And now that is so much of that damage gone for Semper Resurrection. Dragfinat very, very low. Alpha, the counter pin there out from both Reinhardts. Lump low has to use the ice block, and it is just Alpha trying to stay alive. Blizzard out from Lump, finds Chisholm and Matty, but Alpha
dies
falls.
with a shatter.
Window out from both Baptiste, and this is looking incredibly favorable for Semper Resurrection, actually. Selfless takes himself with Queen, and Overclock out from Oak, not finding anything, and they're going to hold with just over 2.5 meters left to go. Their Semper Resurrection is going to hold the defense.
We won't see any extra innings on Icon Valor today. Just one more round will be the decider on this map, and the spawns for Semper Resurrection were just far too strong at the end of the day. The Doomfist, the Mei, with those spawns so close, are able to just throw themselves onto the point and start burning cooldowns to stay there. And it means that any pick that the attackers get needs to be twice as valuable as anything the defenders get, just because the defender spawns are so much closer. The attackers are going to have to walk a small marathon to get back to the fight the defenders. It's just their front door. And so DINOCO was stymied at the final hurdle. Still though, there's going to be their own defense turn now. Their own attack, honestly, was very, very strong. And this is very reminiscent of the Widow composition we were seeing from them before the doors unlocked. Focuses around Lump with the dash resets following up. And either headshots from Unchamped or the axe from Alpha. So pay attention to the Genji. If it overextends, it could be an easy point of pain for Semper Resurrection to exploit. If not, it could be an absolutely terrifying combo. The dastardly duo, perhaps, that could get DINOCO their first map win. Doors are beginning to unlock, though, and Semper Resurrection are playing something very similar, actually. The Tracer is going to have a bit of a rough matchup into the Ashe until it gets to close range, so watch for that particular duel as well.
We see the Genji's just throwing those shurikens on the bridge there. Lump backing up to his team. Selfless already, I believe, got body shot by Oak. Was so low, had to play safe, but it is going to be Oak that takes down Baxter first here. And now DINOCO is pressing the issue. Oak with another great pick, a headshot onto Selfless, taking down the Tracer, and Semper Resurrection just running for their lives. Alpha wanting to press up a little further, opting to back out now.
Junk Queen is so strong against these squishy flanking heroes, but drop solo, Alphas get picked early.
I mean, he didn't have the shout. He used the shout, and now Chisholm doing what he wants, pushing the issue on to DINOCO's backline. And I mean, once Alpha decided that he wanted to push with that that shout into the backline there on the, I mean, that's a lot of Junker Queen's burst survivability gone.
And the knife from Chisholm as well was absolutely vital in putting Alpha back into the line of fire. Would have made it round the corner otherwise. And so the cart will be started. It's up to DINOCO to stop it, not making changes, instead fighting for the castle.
We see Lump on the outside, able to help get Dragfinet taken down, but Baxter going to trade it. Alpha so very low, will fall here to Baxter, and this should be the cart continuing to push for Semper Resurrection.
It's been a couple of times now that Alpha's got a little bit lost on this Junker Queen, maybe a little bit too accustomed to Winston's survivability, his ability to disengage as well. And so Semper Resurrection will get a little bit more progress here, but the ult cycles are coming up from both teams. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath when those checks start being use. So pay attention to that in particular. The Dragon Blade of the Lamp still so far away, but the Kitsune Rush is invested early.
Kit Rush does come out and Lump takes advantage. Or, well, I mean, I guess that wasn't his Kit Rush yet, but Queen able to boop Chisholm off the map, and this... Okay, Oak, thank you for not losing. And that's going to be a little bit of a hold there for DINOCO.
Yeah, Mirrored Kitsune Rushes were exchanged, but DINOCO will be the one in control when the dust settles, and now it's going to be 4-on-3 ultimates. Watch for the combo between the Dragon Blade and the Rampage. That's what I would expect from DINOCO. From Semper Resurrection, much the same, but with a beat perhaps to follow up instead. Still, though, down to the two teams, it's the fight cooler who picks the fight plan.
Oh,
that's a humongous ante!
I mean, Chisholm hits 5. Unchimped cleanses a little bit of it, but I mean, it doesn't matter if Chisholm hits 5. Alpha has the later one, and I mean, the beat keeping them alive, and you couldn't ask for a better response.
The beat from Queen was so huge. The Suzu as well to keep all those members healthy, and so DINOCO do manage to get the stop. They exhaust most of the strong ults of Semper Resurrection, but that does mean Baxter will have this sole tool here. The Dragon Blade is an often maligned ultimate, but can come up absolutely huge, especially when unanswered.
Here we go. See, shout used early by Chisholm. Baxter just looking for an opportunity to pop this Dragon Blade finally. Having to run away from the dynamite burn there. Here we go. Dragon Blade invested. Baxter. The cleanse out, but it's going to be Lump that falls. Baxter finds Unchimped. I mean, that's value, baby. We like to see it. And Oak will be the last to fall. Some technical crouching by Baxter here, and this is going to get them at least very, very close to the door of the castle.
Recontest is available as an option, but it will be pretty labored. Back to them, marking the top to stop the Genji getting through. But we'll see if a touch even comes through. It will.
Pulse Bomb out from Selfless. Both Kit Rushes out. Chisholm pops that shout, and it's going to be Lump that finds Drag. But Baxter trades out the Kitty. Now, the beat out from Massey, not enough to keep them alive. But Baxter takes down Oak. Baxter falls next. Chisholm backing up around this corner into the castle, opting to just try and get away here, which is the right call now.
And it was a minute and a half on the time bank when DINOCO capped out, so already they are in a bit of a better place now. And that hold was absolutely huge. The collapse from Semper was really rough, and now it's on to Chisholm to get something going with this Rampage. Got nothing earlier, but this time with no Suzu, it comes out huge again.
Lump pops the blade. Oh, that's just 4 dead so fast. And I mean, now only 40 seconds left on the clock. Nobody has anything. Oak is pretty close to Bob. Selfless being a little bit creative right now, just chilling out in the castle.
Looks like he's looking for the C9, but Unchemped is very, very close, so it should be pretty hard to get through, but instantly it's a really poor health bar exchange onto Alpha, who drops so low.
Alpha, but gets cleansed. I mean, a great knife from Chisholm to pull Alpha in, but it's not going to mean anything as a great Suzu from Unkempt keeps him alive, and I mean, Bob out into that. Oh my goodness, what a Bob. And now DINOCO, that's it. That's going to be the map, and DINOCO is going to take Eichenwald, and we are at a tied series.
That we are. That bomb from Oak was absolutely huge, going into the castle and forcing the attackers into the kill box of DINOCO. They got absolutely cooked there. The Queen Axe, the primary fires of the Ash, all of them came up absolutely huge. Here in the play of the game, we do go back to the opening couple kills, the ones that cracks the map open for DINOCO, and we are even now in the series 1-1.
I mean, As to be honest, that's kind of what I expected after seeing both of these maps. They were such hotly contested maps, and I, to be honest with you, as a Junker Queen enjoyer, I'm happy that we got that little bit of a mirror there. Obviously, DINOCO playing it a little bit better in the end there, but we will be cutting it to a break, and we will be back in just a few minutes with our third map here. You won't want to miss it. Stick around.
Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave.
All right, welcome back everybody to our Week 1 EU-PC Open, a match between DINOCO and SEMPER Resurrection. We are tied at 1-1 in what has been a very close match thus far.
Yeah, most definitely. SEMPER Resurrection was taking it on the Brawl versus Dive. When it comes to pure Dive, pretty much only the Winston, then DINOCO did seem like they had the upper hand. And moving on to Dorado, that is definitely what I expect to see. A lot more of a map with so much verticality. Then it's going to be really, really rough if SEMPER Resurrection want to try and utilize any of those tankier, brawlier characters. So, gotta give the advantage to DINOCO here. Maybe not the old kings like in Cars, but I mean, they're still definitely very, very favored. Speaking of Cars, by the way, I did end up watching that film like 200 times when I was a young lad. So I'm definitely supporting DINOCO here.
I definitely watched it a bit myself. It was one of my favorites for a while. I just wanted to be a Lightning McQueen, you know. Growing up, I just wanted to be fast.
I'm gonna drop some me lore here, but on my first day of nursery, I showed up wearing a cardboard cutout of Lightning McQueen and refused to answer to anything but Lightning McQueen.
That reminds me of the kid from from Daddy Daycare, who refused to respond to anything but the Flash. He's the Flash. That's
so real of him, though.
That's
so real
a
of him.
great movie too, by the way. Lump appears to be having some issues. That was also one of the reasons that we were having a little bit of trouble on Eichenwald. Lump lagging a little bit, I would assume, but like we were saying earlier, it's looking like it's going to be a Winston mirror right now.
Yeah, Winston hasn't been massively changed, neither has his immediate counters, so we're still going to see plenty of everybody's favourite scientists, I think, in Overwatch going forward. And also with Dorado, again, the verticality, it makes it so much easier to play Winston, and I think the sightlines as well aren't good enough for hit scans to be played to like consistently poke him out. On certain maps, maybe a Hanzo, maybe an Ashe, can really ruin the Winston's day. You see plenty of Ashe, for example, on maybe defensive Numbani first point. But it's not something you see too much of on this map. On Dorado, other than an Echo, I don't expect really too much deviation from the norm, and that is kind of what we're seeing in the lobby right now, at least. I mean, I would love for Doomfist to be meta. He has been also been buffed a little bit, but the 1 second on slam maybe isn't enough to nudge him into the realm of playable. Still going to be a bit of a throw pick, I think, for the vast majority of players, pros and ranked demons alike.
I mean, it was always fun watching Dante last season, running it down on the Doomfist no matter what. I mean, Doomfist, I don't particularly care for him, but he is fun to watch at a high level. I think I understand why Lump is having a little bit of trouble right now. He is the only American in the lobby right now, so I can imagine that is an issue for sure right now.
Yeah, you get some evil ping. I tried playing some West Coast pickup games a couple weeks ago, and I was on like 200 ping. It's just not playable.
Yeah.
So absolutely, hats off to Lump for still getting good value while on enough ping to absolutely ruin anyone else's day.
The problem is that DINOCO only has 5 players, so if Lump can't join, it's either, I don't know if it's allowed. Speaking of what I was going to say, it looks like we're just going to be running it down 4v5.
I think Lump just rejoined.
Oh,
yeah, Lump's back in.
Okay. All right.
The 4v5 would be...
4v5 would be a
I mean,
little
you might
bit
as well
silly.
just concede at that point. You might as well just concede.
Hey,
the Overwatch 4v5 conversion rate is like 20%.
I trust.
It's far too much of a disadvantage for any team to try and overcome unless you're just better. And I don't think these two teams are that far apart where DINOCO have a chance playing 4v5. The Widow on Oak is an interesting pick. We'll have to see if he finds value here.
I'm sure it's just like take a shot, walk back to spawn, and that is exactly what we're seeing. Probably to the Tracer here. Chisholm trying to keep control of that red building, dropping down for just a second. Sticky Bomb's out from Lump, not finding the Selfless, the target there, who is taking an interesting little off angle there. Now, we see Alpha and the entirety of DINOCO just trying to push up through this high ground and not taking control of the cart just yet. But it's gonna be Alpha taking down Baxter first, Lump and Unchemped, taking down Matsy and Selfless, respectively, and that will be a beautiful, actually, like, they took their time, but it was a pretty clean fight once it got around to it.
Yeah, exactly. Once Baxter, Selfless, and Chisholm were all set up in good positions, and they were able to. Oh, sorry, Oak, Lump, and Alpha were all set up. They were able to collapse Semper Resurrection, sent back to spawn in pretty short order. They will be here for a recontest, but so far it's Lump who controls this, guys. Baxter's going to have to take it from him with force.
I mean, 200 ping Warlord, baby. You love to see it. Alpha antied, having to play a little bit safer. Selfless's Pulse Bomb on to Queen there, taking down that Brig early. Chisholm having to get out, and Alpha falling. Pretty strong defense here for Semper Resurrection now.
Alpha did just take a little bit too much damage in that last fight, had to spend too much time getting healed up, and by the time was ready to go back in again, and all eyes were on the main tank, so burst down in pretty short order. DINOCO, though, have charged up to the Nano Boost, so it's going to go either onto Lump or Alpha, all things considered. Nat might have to burn his defensively to save maybe Matsy or Chisholm, who get dived.
You see Oak just going in. Maybe the distraction there as Alpha follows quickly with the Nano Boost in tow. Oak cleaning up Baxter and Matsy. And, yeah, good job, Oak, being the distraction there, turning Matsy around.
Definitely economical for the side of DINOCO, yeah, exactly. The Primal from Chisholm's really, really awkward. It's just an ultimate that, I mean, while it gets you a couple extra seconds, you could use that for a fight win. You could have used that to maybe stall in overtime. So really, I think, a bit of a mistake from Chisholm, and it just makes the ult trade of DINOCO that much more economical. Lump is copied Brig here in an attempt to survive, but that's just an ultimate, again, can slide into the void. It's really, really awkward, but at least they will establish their Ana on the high ground here.
You do see that. But, I mean, just weird ult usage. Baxter popping his duplicate there on to the Brig as well. Matsy also joining the Brigade up there. Primal Rage popped by Alpha to keep this nice sleep by Drag, but it's gonna be Alpha surviving somehow or another there, and just weird ultimates here from both teams.
Yeah,
a
sliver of HP on the Winston, but all that downtime was punished by Semper Resurrection. They take the space, they get a kill off of it. Baxter, though, overextends. The sniper fire from Unchemped gets an opening pick that the red team are more than happy to exploit.
Yeah, we see now DINOCO happy to take the space that Semper Resurrection has given them. Sleep out. Alpha's anti does not have that Primal Rage to stay alive in that pinch, so has to escape. Oak pops Pulse Bomb, finds Dragfinat. That is so much of that healing gone for Semper Resurrection. Matsy falling low will go down. Selfless having to recall back up to the high ground, and now we see Chisholm will re-engage, does not quite get that Primal Rage. Alpha and Lump taking down each of their counterparts, and we're going to roll through B here for DINOCO.
I don't think Semper Resurrection has really been able to establish a really rock-solid defense here. It feels like while it has been strong at certain points, it's been much more about punishing the mistakes of DINOCO, which have been happening a little more than I would have liked, rather than manufacturing their own opportunities. And in this small enclosed room, the cleave from Chisholm is coming up huge, but no one has fooled just yet.
Chisholm just trying to control, this doorway here, and I mean, just free ult charge for Unchimpt here, building up that nano boost as fast as they can. Engage now from the Winston here, and Baxter gets nano boosted, blows up Queen, blows up Unchimpt. Lump finding the trade onto Dragfinat, but both supports are gone from both sides. Baxter taking down Lump though now too. Chisholm and the defense is going to hold strong.
Absolutely huge. Out of the Echo, just the nano boost is all that's needed for Baxter to go absolutely ham onto the backline. Queen and Unchempt had absolutely no recourse for the Echo on their heads. DINOCO stymied now, and after a really long fight in which they used their primal rage, that is a bigger blow than they would have liked. Looks like they're going for a similar play, though now we'll see if it has a similar outcome.
Oak does have this pulse bomb, almost certainly wants to drop it off here. Lump duping the Ana again, and Oak in that Tracer duel, able to take down Selfless. Primal Rage now from Chisholm onto this backline, and it is without the Ana there. Queen just under so much pressure, not able to stay up. Does not seem as though Unchempt has that sleep dart. Will fall Alpha getting that nano boost, but Chisholm finding a more value even without it.
I'm really not sure about DINOCO's idea of just walking up to the higher grounds. Against the Sombra, it might have been okay, but Baxter's going to put in so much damage through the choke that you see Alpha is just consistently getting bullied out. I'd much rather a more angles-based engage, trying to take different areas across the map and collapsing onto the backline instead. And another DC from Lump is going to mean that this next engage is even more further off than perhaps it could have been. 39 seconds for DINOCO, and it's still looking pretty rough.
Yeah, this is just unfortunate for the side of DINOCO. I don't want to be one to step in to the inner workings of a team that I'm not on. Might want to look up trying to pick up somebody a little more local. It seems like Lump has been phenomenal when they've been able to play, but I mean, they're just, when they're not able to play, what can you do, right? And with 5 players on the roster, you can't really just throw somebody else in when they're having these issues.
Yeah, I also think it's worth remembering that even if Lump comes back, you're going to be reset to 0% ult charge and have to walk straight out of the spawn. And with this low time on the bank, losing that extra space, losing whatever ult charge you may have had, is such a big blow. It's going to make this final attack of DINOCO so much harder to get much of anything going. So it's a really, really rough scenario. And if he's not back, I mean, I'd expect them just to concede. It's looking so rough for DINOCO. And that's just, without the disconnect with it, it kind of is all combining into just an absolute maelstrom of mishap for the attacking side. And I'm really not sure if they have it in them to escape all that.
I mean, the problem is that at some point, if I'm Semper Resurrection, it might not be the most honest way to win a match, but throwing the rulebook out, 3 DCs in one match from one player. I mean, if I'm Semper Resurrection, I'm just frustrated and I want to play the game. And I'm sure DINOCO is just as frustrated that their teammate can't stay in the game. But I mean, these problems aren't Semper Resurrection's fault, and I'm just curious at how they're feeling in their camp right now, you know?
I think on one hand, it is always frustrating when there's constant DCs, constant pauses, but on the other hand, they do have to ultimately realize that all these DCs do benefit them at the end of the day, so I think it is going to be a little bit bittersweet's maybe not the word, but a mix of feelings for Semper Resurrection, but either way, it would take... I think they have to realize that they are most definitely in the driver's seat here, and that always puts your team in a good mood.
I mean, for sure. I just... I don't know. I've been on both ends of being rule booked before. I mean, I feel for DINOCO, their teammate. I mean, I just imagine both sides being so like upset and annoyed. They came here to play the game. They're not getting to play the game right now. I mean, Semper Resurrection could be looking on that bright side, like you said. I mean, and we really don't even have an ETA for when Lump is supposed to be back in the game right now, and I don't know what the outlook here is.
Very unfortunate, but unfortunately these things do happen with online esports in general. There are always going to be technical issues, and unfortunately there's always going to be a team coming out on the worst end of them. DINOCO going to be catching the end of this particular stick. Very, very rough for them, especially as they were looking so strong, but it happens. And it's up to us to fill the airtime. It's up to them to hopefully try and make something back. Lamp is back, was just restarting his PC, so we should be underway in relatively short order, but we need to remember the stakes that were set up previously. 39 seconds on the clock, no Echo ultimates for Lump. In fact, no ultimates at all for DINOCO, bar the Rally of Queen. It's going to be their only tool, and this is a attacking side who've twice now been stymied trying to make the same attack work. If they go for it for a third time, we might see an end. If not, I mean, there's still chances here. It's not unwinnable.
Lump actually opting for the Sombra here. Opting for... I guess they were on Sombra before they DC'd the last time. But, Selfless... Oh my god! Baxter popping that dupe onto the Ana. Hits 3, and Oak gets so low. Antied again. And not being able to find much of anything here. They did pop that rally, and Baxter with the dupe able to not find that much. Drag has the nano boost for Chisholm here. Or I guess not Chisholm, for Matsy. Brig gets nanoed here. Alpha popping the Primal Rage. Baxter taking down Queen, but Oak!
Ooh.
With 2 on the pulse bomb, but it doesn't matter. Chisholm finds Oak and Unchemped. And now it is just Alpha here, and Lump not able to get back to the point, and that will be a point C hold for the defense here.
Yeah, Semper Resurrection looks scary for a second with that double kill onto the DPS line, but Chisholm had managed to get onto the backline of DINOCO, gets a quick double to trade it back, and from there it's just smooth sailing with the closest spawns, with the support advantage. Very, very hard for them to lose, and so the cart will be stopped just outside of the end of the map. Definitely good progress, a good attack from DINOCO in a map where often the attacks are stopped throughout the second point. And most definitely very winnable as well. Semper Resurrection did have a pretty hard time on their own attack in the previous night. I can Valda. Maybe they're just a defensively sided team. So DINOCO definitely aren't sweating too much just yet. And on this defense, we're going to see an Ashe. It's going to be a little bit less risky than the Echo, but can also be dived a lot harder. So the matchup in between Oak and Baxter is going to continue. If Oak maybe doesn't pay attention for a split second, if the Echo can find a way onto the top of the Cowgirl, it could be a very, very easy assassination. But equally, that Ashe controls so much of the airspace that Baxter wants to utilize. So that is going to be the bare bones, I suppose, of that particular matchup. Other than that, it's a full mirror. DINOCO now on the defense. Semper Resurrection looking to equal their progress.
And we see kind of a similar idea, taking this coast side up the staircase potentially. Getting a little bit of cart progress early from Selfless, who, speaking of, drops Lump to the dirt. The dynamite from Oak not catching anything there, unfortunately. It was very close, but able to keep that from affecting anything. But a big ante here from Dragfinad, and that is going to be just as beautiful on the cleanup.
The problem with the Ashe, I think, in a lot of scenarios, is that if you're not consistently poking out back to Selfless and Chisholm, if it was like all at once, then you are just going to get dived. The ante just made it so much easier. No support came through, and it's going to be so much progress. A touch will come through, but it's very, very labored for the side of the defense.
Yeah, Lump already losing out on that recall. Alpha gets antied. Able to escape with his life here. Lump just trying to be an annoying fly on the cart so that it does not go through. Alpha takes down Dragfin, but Chisholm and Selfless trading out there 2 for 2. Alpha taking down... Okay, well, scratch that. Semper Resurrection captures A. Yeah, that happened, I guess.
Yeah, Lump and I believe Unchemped were sitting on the point, so Alpha felt safe to go punish the backline a little bit, but as he does that, everyone on point folds and there's no one to recontest. Semper Resurrection making it through 2 seconds with very good time. There's no one to stop the Winston from getting high. I don't really know what to, I don't know what to say about that. How's that happen?
On a cut. Semper Resurrection is building up. I mean, this is going to be a 5v5 ultimate fight getting pretty close here for both teams. Whoa,
yeah, most definitely.
Baxter going in here with the nano boost. Lump finding a nice little pulse bomb there on to Matsy. Queen stays alive. A great whip shot to push Baxter away. Oak cleaning up said Baxter, and now Semper Resurrection just having to back out. Oak some great shots here.
That they will. Nat again consigned to death, this time by another's hand. But it's finally a good stop from DINOCO, who didn't have to use too much. They still have their most powerful ultimates to use here. Semper Resurrection without that nano boost are significantly weaker, but Baxter so far has been huge with these duplicates, so that may well happen again. This nano looking to go on to Alpha, so watch exactly how far the Winston jumps straight onto the backline.
Oh.
No, that did AC.
I mean... Okay, we're just gonna keep going, it looks like. Alpha pops the Primal Rage to stay alive a little bit longer. Unkempt is going to fall. Primal Rage now expiring, and the Ana, I mean, I just... I don't know. I don't know what to say right now. Lump goes out once again. Rightfully, everybody in the lobby right now very, very upset. Even I'm starting to get a little bit annoyed.
Yeah, it's a really rough scenario, unfortunately. We are all just here to play, to watch Overwatch, to get our match done, but if there's constant disruptions, it kind of ruins everyone's fun. It's a little bit rough, but such is the way of things at the end of the day.
I mean, right, it was an even fight still continuing to go. I mean, both teams were just trading blows left and right. I just... Sorry, you'll have to excuse me. I'm annoyed. I want to be in the action just as much as anyone. I mean, that's 4 or 5 DCs now from the side of DINOCO. I think this is the 4th one right now, and at some point, I mean, like I said the last time it happened, I mean, I'm pretty sure that in the rulebook for CGL, you only get a certain number of pauses per match before you have to forfeit. And it looks like Lump is back, and I'm not sure. It looks like we're just gonna play it out. I respect that. We're gonna get back into the action here right now. Semper Resurrection getting pretty close to this point here. Oak falling a little bit late there. Queen popping the rally.
Oh, that's rough.
I don't like that, unfortunately. It's just gonna be up to Lump here to touch the point. Nano boost on to Alpha. I believe Lump just used the recall here. A beautiful sleep from Baxter. Selfless cleaning it up there. No 3-2-1 necessary. Alpha falls, and it is just Queen left on a point that is already gone. Once again, looking pretty good for Semper Resurrection, especially in the ult bank category.
Oak over to the Soldier is very, very strange. The Reaper is a pretty standard choice to try and shut down Chisholm. Maybe they've identified the Winston as a problem, but the Soldier is not something I'm too used to seeing. Has been nerfed a little bit on new patch, was opening up the proceedings with a nice kill into Baxter.
Yeah, we see that kill on to Baxter. The Winston from Alpha dropping to contest. Winston from Alpha, sorry, dropping to contest Chisholm. Anti-nade a little bit wide there from Dragfinat. And Oak already building up pretty close to his visor here. Already 65. Primal Rage popped by Alpha. I don't know if I really agree with that. I felt like they had that fight already won.
I'd agree with you there. The stagger onto Baxter is very nice, but Alpha must make sure the same does not happen to himself, and that he will get out with. Semper Resurrection, with 2.5 minutes, in a pretty comfortable spot, but this is much the same scenario that DINOCO were in, so still losable for them. That being said, when you look at the check marks at the top of your screen, one has to give the advantage to the blue team, at least in this particular engagement. And especially with this early damage onto Alpha, it means that there's so little space that's controlled by the defenders, but Chisholm just goes down.
Yeah, blown up by that tank buster. But Lump getting traded out, I don't think it's going to matter all too much since Semper Resurrection is without their Winston. Semper opting to take control of that staircase over there. See Alpha engaging with the Nano Boost Oak with that Helix rocket, taking down Dragfinat, and Alpha just continuing to walk forward, able to escape with his life. Well, not so much. Taking down Selfless with a trade there.
And I think that's pretty nice. I'm not sure if Alpha maybe had to die in that scenario, but you managed to at least stabilize here. But Semper Resurrection were taking a drive fight, so even more checks for them, and they have been pretty deadly with them so far. This Nano Boost most likely going onto Baxter, and straight onto the background is the Echo.
We see the Nano Boost to stay alive. Baxter dupes the Reaper here. Has the Wraith to get out here.
Needs a touch.
But it's going to be Oak that finds the first pick here. Baxter's finds a pick with the Death Blossom. Now, attack visor out from Oak, being juggled into a wall. Well, maybe not so much, but Chisholm popping that Primal Rage. Selfless has a Pulse Bomb here, potentially wanting something great with it. 0.86 meters left, 30 seconds left. Pulse Bomb finds Alpha. Lump dropping the Primal Rage, finds the Tracer. But Matty cleaning up Lump here. It's just the Ana, and okay, they don't touch. That is going to be Semper Resurrection taking Dorado, in my opinion, rightfully so.
I feel like we didn't really get to see all of DINOCO in that map, unfortunately. The technical issues we were experiencing did kind of stop that from being the case. But yeah, as you mentioned, I did look like Semper Resurrection were a little bit stronger here on this map. And as they got to close it out, I think we did see Desperation out of DINOCO. The Reaper Soldier, I do not think is a practice composition. I do not think it's a meta composition. It looked like Panic. It looked like Desperation. And ultimately, it is not a composition that pays off for them. And that's kind of why we see Semper Resurrection go up 2-1 here in this series. Esperanza should be next. There's going to be much more Winston, much more Echo. And in this mirror, with Semper Resurrection, looks like they're coming out on top more times than not. The stage is all set for a 3-1 in favor of Semper. We'll have to see if DINOCO can mount their comeback, rally the troops in that next map, but it's maybe not looking so likely now.
Yeah, we do. We are, like you said, heading to Esperanza. We have a substitution from the side of Semper Resurrection here. We are going to have Baxter leaving the lineup and SLZ returning from Busan. So what do you think about that? What do you think the plan is? It's looking like Sombra?
I would expect either Sombra or Genji, and then just running Junk Queen compositions. I think bringing Bagst out implies to me that you just don't intend to play any Echo, would be my main guess, which is fair enough. I don't think Echo is hard meta on this point particularly, but I think she's still one of the stronger picks. Still, it does mean that you aren't maybe as locked in. You can run some Junker Queen compositions with the Genji, with the Sombra. So that would be my guess, but I haven't seen a massive amount out of Semper Resurrection. I'm not massively familiar with their hero pools. But yeah, so far it looks like we're going on to the Brawl with the Sombra Tracer. This was what Semper were consistently winning fights out of on Busan. DINOCO had really no answer. Hopefully they've learned a little bit in the map since then, because they're going to have to if they want to stay alive in this series.
Yeah, we are going to see a little bit of a difference in philosophy here. Dive from DINOCO, rush from Semper Resurrection. DPS lines likely going to stay the same between both teams. But the support and tank, I mean, this is going to be a clash of styles here for sure. And we see...
Most definitely. This Sombra establishing early for the hack onto health pack isn't too much, but you see the kind of dance. Both tanks walking around the pillar, one looking for an angle, one looking to avoid it, but early pressure onto Alpha means that it has to go out early.
But SLZ falls! That hack lockout was not there anymore, but SLZ just either did not have a translocator or did not get out, and that's going to be a really, really bad first pick for Semper Resurrection. That's so much EMP charge gone in a time where EMP charge is harder to come by.
It looked to me like SLZ was simply too slow with the translocators. Didn't expect the burst of damage coming through from Oak, but it's going to mean that DINOCO have established first progress, but we'll be back in short order, ready to contest.
Yeah, we see Alpha jumping up there onto that high ground. Oak joining them. Bot going back the other way just a little bit, but not too much here. Hack breaks, not quite able to get anyone there. Oak has built up to their first pulse bomb here. Definitely looking for something. Okay, beautiful stick on to Selfless, who I guess did not have the recall there. And that is a Tracer for Tracer trade here. Alpha has this Primal Rage Chisholm, only 80% to the Annihilation. Popping the Coalescence is Drag Fenat. SLZ, ooh, dude, that health so low. Nazi anti, able to stay alive just long enough. A lump finds Matsy. Alpha jumps onto Drag Fenat, and it's going to be a pretty firm hold on the robot here for DINOCO.
It did go a little bit back and forth, but in the end, there's absolutely nothing to be found for Semper Resurrection, who will be making changes over to the Junkie Queen. It's going to mean there's a lot more damage for Alpha to avoid. Drag Nat as well is going over to the Kiriko. So a little bit less, maybe higher ground presence, are going to be a little bit easier to poke out, but in exchange, damage and lots of it. But Lump is hiding with his EMP.
Yeah, Lump's EMP comes out, hits Unchemped, does not find the value that you want. Oh wait, no. Both EMPs came out. You'll have to excuse me. Lump's EMP got value. SLZ's did not. It hit both supports, but not able to find it there.
I think one of the important things to remember about the Ana Brigitte backline in particular is that it's very, very hard to EMP. As soon as the ability lockout is done, then you're going to see a nano boost onto the Brigitte. The Brig will armor pack the Ana, and both will stay alive. Absolutely by a hair, though, as Queen does drop low.
Now Alpha once again engaging here. So very, very low here. We see that Lamp had to translocate out there. Pulse bomb out from Selfless, kills two. Beautiful pulse bomb there from Selfless as the entirety of DINOCO was grouped up in that little corridor.
I mean, if they're going to set the stage for you, I mean, why not go and perform an easy two-piece? And Semper Resurrection will finally begin getting some real distance onto the robot. And with this high ground control with SLZ very, very close to this EMP, they're in a great spot to get more than a couple fights through.
Oh!
Queen just dies?
Queen just didn't put up their shield. A beautiful play by SLZ finds the Brig at range here, and I mean, you can't ask for anything better from your Sombra player there. Alpha taking down Matsy. Chisholm does have the Rampage, potentially wants it at some point here very, very soon, but not now. Gets hacked, antied, and the bot's going to be going back in the way of DINOCO with a very, very cheap fight for DINOCO.
Most definitely. Only having to use the Prime Rage is absolutely humongous because it means the DINOCO can contest with the ult bank that Resurrection have themselves accrued. It's going to be a 4-on-5 ultimate fight, and so far, historically, DINOCO have been getting the better of these, but Lump just dies!
That is something tragic that we've just seen time and time again. I mean, I don't know. From both Sombras, actually. Chisholm, just dueling this nano to Winston on the point as Selfless finds the pulse bomb onto Unchemt. Dragfeinat and Chisholm, though, cleaning up on the point. Alpha gets away with his life, but SLZ knows where he's at, and Queen asking for a pause here from the side of DINOCO.
They're saying ready again.
Okay, we're a short pause. We love that.
I really couldn't tell you what that was about, but what I can tell you is that it was pretty good discipline from DINOCO to save some of their ults. The nano boost onto Alpha was a little bit maybe bold for my choice, but either way it means they're still in a pretty good position.
Oh,
Lump's EMP just flashes the backline.
That's a gorgeous EMP from Lump. And you see SLZ just chilling out, talking to his team there, not wanting to get too aggressive there just by himself.
Very standard EMP conversion, back and forth, and DINOCO, even if they lose this fight, they realize that they're still going to have the lead with SLZ scaling with this EMP. It could come up huge, but historically it hasn't.
EMP comes out onto the Winston. Alpha's able to get away. Recall out from Oak to stay alive here. And the Tracer, they're just gonna opt to back out here instead of getting too aggressive. Alpha hacked once again. Dragfeinat does have this Kitsune Rush, will pop it. Rampage! Ah! Rampage canceled by Queen! Did get anti there, but it's gonna be not enough, I don't think. Alpha, nano boost, Unchemt, very, very, very low. Chisholm hacked up. Lump able to escape, but Alpha squishing Matsy, and now SLZ finally finding the pick onto that Ana. Selfless cleaning up Alpha, and that great movement by SLZ to stay alive there.
Oh, definitely, and it's important to remember at the beginning That SLZ's EMP did not connect. EMP 2 killed none, but Semper Resurrection were able to clutch out the sustained fight, and they will be able to get the checkpoint by the looks of things. That being said, DINOCO will respawn in time for a touch, and so it will be Lump to get the first one.
See Alpha jumping in here into the face of Chisholm, who's antied. Uses the shout to get that little bit more HP. Backs around the corner. Dragfanat does drop. Once again, unfortunately, Lump has DC'd here.
I will say about that particular situation, it was looking pretty winnable for DINOCO, so this DC I think is going to hurt a lot more than most. They still had most of their resources, their important cooldowns going, their HP was pretty good, and they were in a good spot to stall the point. They had great cover, but with Lump going down, it's going to instantly turn this into a rough scenario. No Sombra in this engagement is going to be so rough, especially when you consider that he was much closer to his EMP, I believe about 70-80%. So DINOCO taking an absolutely massive loss here, but the rejoin at least will come through. But they absolutely have to try and clutch out this fight now.
Yeah, at least it was pretty quick here. SLZ trying to get the hack off onto Alpha. Lump opting for the Torbjorn this time around. We'll see if that plan gets the value that you want to see from it. But the bot is so close, as Kiriko just said, to taking this this point here, and now pushing forward is Semper Resurrection, and finally capturing the objective here. Lamp low, not quite able to take them down though.
The point of the Torbjorn here is to mark off angles and can have a little bit more neutral value than the Sombra, especially when there's no time to charge that EMP. Speaking of which, SLZ has it.
Pulse bomb out, takes down Alpha! EMP out, hits 3! Massive from SLZ and Selfless. And they are going to 100% take the lead off of those two absolutely gorgeous ultimates. And now it's looking dire for DINOCO.
With the point being flipped, at less than a minute, it means that DINOCO are going to have to win this NOT if they win it at all. Nano Boost will be the tool, and Primal Rage from Alpha is going to be the follow-up. But so far, Semper Resurrection have been so huge, and the Fox makes this so much harder.
Rampage out, hits 3. Queen popping the rally to stay alive, but it's just take down Dragfanat. But Oak cleaning up Matsy here. This will be going back towards Semper Resurrection, but I mean, they just let Selfless for so long take that bot back, and now they are at a 24-meter deficit heading into overtime. This is scary.
Maybe a bit of a mistake from Semper Resurrection to not save their ultimates till overtime, but either way, it's going to mean that it's just going to be mirrored pulse bombs as we duel into this last fight. Yeah, I'm running out of witty things to say about this, man. Lump's been kind of snaps again. And with Alpha trying to run back on the Orisa, it's going to be a very rough time. Not a change we had a chance to speak about, but one that really baffles me. I don't get this at all.
We are going to go back in 4v5. Pulse bomb out from Oak does not catch. God Queen does fall, and there is a Tracer duel on the point right now. Alpha finding the spear onto Matsy, so very low, and that is going to be Semper Resurrection taking our series here this afternoon in what was, in a word, interesting.
Yeah, an otherwise close series, unfortunately marred by technical issues, and I think we really could have seen a lot more from this game if not for the unfortunate Wi-Fi of Lump. It's such a rough problem to have, and it feels so poor to be that particular player, that particular team, but unfortunately, it's happened. That's the reality we have to deal with. Semper Resurrection almost getting a bye in this particular game, it feels like, and they get to close it out in 4.
Yeah, I mean, just, I mean, I'm running out of stuff to say, man. I mean, just like you said, a seriously unfortunate turn of events here for DINOCO in a very, in a great close match. I mean, they were pretty even on all fronts, it felt like. Even in the rush mirror with the Junker Queen, I thought that it was a really good map there, especially on Esperanza, and I mean, just marred by the technical difficulties, unfortunately. But I personally, we don't really have official player of the matches here in CGL, but I like to, generally speaking, give one out in all the series that I cast. I think that I would like to give the nod to Chisholm, in my opinion. What about you? What do you think?
I can definitely agree with that. Was kind of pretty big on an absolute variety of different tanks. Very many tank players are still kind of stuck in the kind of main tank, off tank kind of headspace. I think a lot of Winston players simply aren't a competent Ramattra, but absolutely not the case with Chisholm. Was able to get a lot of value on both the picks. So yeah, absolutely hats off to that particular player. He did absolutely huge. But yeah, fair enough. I believe that's pretty much all we have for you guys today. I think there will be later matches for the NA tournament a little bit later. But I think for Fletch, for me, it will be us signing off.
Have a good night.
You say you wanna try, but you